Hello Flosstube, how are you? My name is Sally and I am Flossie Sews and Grows here on YouTube and on Instagram. Welcome to Flosstube number 63. It is Friday the 1st of August and once again I've been missing in action. Haven't been around for 3 weeks. I think when I spoke to you 3 weeks ago, I did say I probably wouldn't film until today. I didn't tell you then because I didn't really want to announce it to the world. But we actually went on holiday, and we've been in Italy for 10 days and had a wonderful, wonderful time. Anyway, I've not stitched a huge amount, a little bit, but not very much as a result. So I thought I would come back today and still talk to you. But I found that I have come back to the biggest number of WIPs that I've ever had. I'll tell you now, it's 30. I've never had that many. And I kind of have got 1st of August, so a bit of a reset. And I've kind of been a bit, oh, where do I start? What do I do? I've got my WIPGOs, so I know those, but I don't know what else to stitch on. So I thought it's almost the middle of the year. I kind of missed the June WIP parade time mid-year, but I thought, right, no, I'm going to do one today and I'm going to do a bit of a reset, see where I am. I've got my WIPGO board. This is my very rough coffee, and I've actually got 4 gaps on it so coffee and eggs was on it twice and I finished that. So cinnamon stars was on it, and then cinnamon stars was on it twice, so I've got 4 spaces on my WIPGO board to fill as well. So I thought I'm going to come along, I'm going to show you all of my projects, all of my WIPs that I've got outstanding, think about what could go on my WIPGO board for when the numbers get called, and kind of have a think about what I want to stitch on in August, what I want to think about getting finished this year, and just have a look at all of my projects. So that's where I think we will be today. So welcome back. If you're a regular viewer, you'll have seen many of these projects before, but if you're new, welcome. Really hope you enjoy listening to me talk about my cross stitch, and I hope that you will like to subscribe so that you can come back again and listen to me next time. So I'm going to go through each of my projects, tell you about them, and have a think about where they're at and kind of how I need to think about getting on with them. So my first one, this is my oldest WIP. We're going in age order. So this is Remember Me by Teresa Kogut, and I started this in April 2023. It was actually 3 years to the day that we'd lost Simon's mum, so my mother-in-law Diana, and I decided that I wanted to stitch this in memory of Diana and also of my dad as well, who unfortunately I lost 25 years ago this year, because it's just a beautiful pattern, beautiful chart, and I just felt it was a lovely piece to remember them both by. So this is where it's up to. So I'm stitching this on 40 count. I think it's called Vintage Cream. It's a Zweigart fabric, and I'm pretty much using the called for floss for this. It's a mix of Weeks Dye Works and DMC. I love it, but I have to say that house and that fence has just taken so long. It's taken such a long time to get that far. I'm hoping that once I get out to the borders and start doing some of the beautiful flowers, it will I'll make a bit more progress. I have done this has been on my WIPGO board once already this year, and it's still got a space at number 1. So when I do my WIPGO, I have, if you can see, so unfortunately I ticked that one already, but if you can see here, January was number 11. It came up in January, and I plan to stitch 5 sessions over the month, and I try and pick, try and do my WIPGOs at weekends. I try and do it when perhaps I can stitch in the morning before work. I'll try and do a little bit then, so I can do some later in the day as well. So I try and make sure I'm getting a decent amount of time to stitch on them. So yeah, I do love this one and really need to get on with it. So hopefully that will come up again soon. But that is a contender that could go in. It's been on WIP, so it's come up once already on my board, and it's got another square to go. It could be put in for a third one because it's my oldest project. So actually that's a point. I think, would you listen to me talk about all my 30 WIPs, and then at the end, will you go and vote for the ones that you think I should work on, and I can add all those up, and I can add those forward to my WIP board. So I think that deserves a spot, definitely. I am going to put everything back in my box as I go. Now, next up is Santa and the Woolmaker. So WIP number 2, Santa and the Woolmaker. This is, I've got this on PDF, so I'll show you what this looks like when it's finished. This is a collaboration between Liz Matthews and her mum, Kathy Barrick. Beautiful chart. I bought it at Jingle Ball in 2023, and it was one of my first Fun for 50 sales at the start of 2024. So I started it in January 2024. Now I have worked on this month. It was WIPGO for July, so I will also put a picture of where it was when you saw it last, because I have done a little bit on this since we got home from our holiday, and this is where it is now. So this is on 40 count lamb's wool from XU Designs, and I'm using a mix of the called for DMCs and also adding in some Roxy Floss Co colours, and I'm also adding in some etoile. So if you can see now, I think last time you saw this, I'd started to stitch this. I don't know if it's a flower or a snowflake. I'd started to stitch in white and it was quite lost. So I've unpicked it. As you can see, I've stitched this one in etoile, and it just, can you see, it just stands out so much better, and the insides of these as well. So actually these ones are still in white up here. I wonder if you can focus in there when these I've done in etoile. So I might leave these, I might unpick them, but there's white here and I'm going to leave that. But I've managed to get a decent amount done here. I've got this flower done, I've got this done, I've finished a couple of these, done quite a bit of Santa's cloak, done quite a lot of the border, the counting here, just to make sure I'm getting down to the edges. Yeah, so I'm really pleased with the progress on this one. I actually only have managed in July to get 3 sessions in on this one for my WIPGO. So actually it's got 2 sessions that I'm going to move across to August, and actually it's come up again for August. So this will get 5 sessions in August done on it. So I think that will make quite good progress. I think, you know, quite a lot of this has been quite fiddly, quite a lot of it has been quite slow. So I've not made a huge amount of progress. But I think once I've done some really good block stitching here, the sheep is here, so that should, you know, should be able to get that done quite quickly. The border here should be quite quick. I think 7 sessions in August should really, really bring that one along, and I should get some good progress. So that's probably one that I don't necessarily mind so much if that's not on my WIPGO board again this year. If I can get the sessions done for August, I'll be quite pleased with that. Spring Quaker is WIP number 3. This is by Lila Studio. I started this in April 2024. So again, this was one of the Fun for 50 sale. And the Fun for 50 sale I did last year with Sarah, who is Sew Me Sarah. And we were both turning 50 and we decided to do 50 new starts. So this was one of my new starts last year. And I started this in April because it was the birthday of my friend Alex at Salex Stitches, and she started this, as did Caroline, who's Caroline's Stitch Corner, to celebrate Alex's birthday. And this has been on my WIPGO board already this year, and I have still got one more session. It's still on there. There's another block for it to be called again. So I think I have only actually stitched on this 5 times for those WIPGO sessions. And here is what it's looking like now. So this is on 36 count Bluetiful, which is a fabrics by Crafty Kate. Beautiful. Actually, the whole piece. Some nice mottling. And I'm stitching this at the moment. I've predominantly used the called for DMCs in the middle of that basket. However, if you can see on the chart, the Quakers here are brown. And I didn't like that. So mine, I did a little bit of experimentation up here. And I'm going to use old purple paint and some blues to change the colours of the Quakers when I eventually get to them. But that basket, the inside of that basket is nearly finished. It just needs a little bit of work on some of the houses. I think the flowers are all finished in there, and then I can start to move outside of the basket. Caroline had a little bit of time off work after we'd started this, and she was able to get quite a lot of stitching done during the day, and she's made huge progress on it. She's really done a lot more than I have, and it is beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. I think both Alex and Caroline actually did it on a green fabric, and it looked beautiful. I'd seen someone else stitch this on blue, and I think putting blue Quakers as well, and it was beautiful, and it really inspired me to change the colours and make it a little bit more how I wanted to do it. I've just checking my messages. So Felicity, my daughter, for those of you who haven't heard me talking about her before, she's actually on a trip with her scout troop for 12 days, and she's in Hungary, so she's quite far away. They've been canoeing today, canoeing down the Danube, and yeah, she just sent me a message to say she's had a wonderful day and really enjoyed it. So yeah, I could see it come up on I saw it come up on my phone, and then it suddenly just came up on my watch as well. So sorry for me reading it, but I have to know how my girl is. So that was WIP number 3. WIP number 4. Oh, this one is beautiful. This is With Thy Hands, which is by Teresa Kogut, and I was really inspired to stitch this by my friends Stitchy Sally and Elaine at Ellie Welly Stitcher. They both started it as part of Sally's 60th birthday celebrations, which were the year before, so in 2023. I couldn't get the chart at the time, and I managed to get it, I think, around after Nashville in 2024. So decided to start it. So this I started in May of last year, so May 2024, and Caroline at Caroline Stitch Corner, and also Natalie, who's at So Stitch So Nat, both started this with me. And I love it because Natalie, whenever she watches my Flosstube, she said she always stitches on this, and I've made a reasonable amount of progress actually. It's looking pretty good, so still quite a lot to do, and I'm stitching this on 36 count Country Vintage Mocha with the call for threads. I may change some of the colours that I'm using though. I think Sally and Elaine both messaged me and said that the green of the trees was very similar, so I may change what I do with the trees. I'll have a look at that. So Caroline, Natalie and I are stitching this with a hashtag of #with thy hands Sal, and love it. This one has already come up on my WIPGO board. I stitched on this one in May, And actually it's come up for August as well, so this will get 5 sessions in August, so it should get some good progress. So that again is a very enjoyable one. I was thinking I would put these into piles of wanting it to go onto my WIPGO board or wanting to stitch on it soon, but actually I suppose none of them have actually, yeah, this is on the WIPGO board, Santa and the Woolmaker. So yeah, maybe as we go things will go in a pile to say yes, keep that out and work on it and get something done. Number 5 is Rainbow Quaker. This is what it should look like. It's by the Vivsters, and I won a little competition that was run on Instagram by Amanda, who is at Needle and Thread Amanda on Instagram, and she was giving away the beautiful colours for this, which are the CXC threads, and I won them. So I was absolutely thrilled, and I said, right, I've been watching Amanda and her friends Tan, who is CXC, oh no, she's the monogamous stitcher on Flosstube, so go and have a watch. And then also their friend Amy as well. I think Tan is at CXC_Tan on Instagram though, so I will pop that down below if I've got it incorrect. They were all stitching the Rainbow Quaker with the hashtag Stitch the Rainbow Sat. So I said, right, thank you Amanda for sending me the beautiful threads, I'm going to join in. And I have stitched on this in July because it was WIPGO. So I'll show you where it was last time you saw it. And this is where I am now. So I feel this is very slow progress. Now it's on a massive piece of 36 count white linen, and yeah, it's just very slow going, and I don't know if it's because there's quite a lot of fabric there to deal with when it's in the frame. That it's not particularly complicated patterns, but you have to concentrate. Yeah, just it's slow going but very enjoyable, and I do love it. And it's been on, so I've stitched it once. Let's have a look. It has another spot still to go. So it was on my WIPGO board twice, and I've already done one month, and it's still got another month to come up. So that will come up on the WIPGO board again before the end of the year. So I don't really need that to necessarily go on the WIPGO board again, actually. There we are. Number 6 is First Winds. I love this one. This is from the Winds of Autumn book by Blackbird Designs. It's a strawberry. It's called First Winds of Autumn, and I love it. Now, I was inspired to start this last year. I'd already planned to stitch it as part of my Fun for 50, but I actually started it. I was going to do it in the autumn, but actually I pulled it forward because Michelle at Mama Loves UGB for Wimbledon was doing a hashtag called #Stitch Strawberries for Wimbledon. So she was going to try and stitch as many strawberries as possible. And because this is a strawberry, I thought, right, I'm going to pull it forward and I'm going to do it in July. So, or June, July, whenever Wimbledon was last year. So that's what I did, and this is how far I have got with it so far. Now, has it come up on the WIPGO board? Was it on the WIPGO board? No. It probably will not take a huge amount more of time. This, I think, because it's an autumn one, I've not picked it up this year, really. I might have done 1 or 2 sessions on it. Let's just have a look. Where is it? I've shut the book. I had the book open and now I've shut it. First Winds of Autumn, page 30. Yeah, the main stitching really on that is the house and the rest of the bird. But actually that won't take... Yeah, I've made quite good progress on that. I'm stitching it on a Fabric of the Month from Fabrics by Crafty Kate, and it is 36 count, and I'm stitching it predominantly, let me just have a look at my notes, which are right in front of me. Where are we up to? I'm stitching it in a mix of the called for, because they are, yeah, so the called for, Blackbird, always do fancy flosses, and then they do the DMC equivalents. And I think where I've got the fancy floss, which for this is All Weeks Dye Works, I'm using the fancy floss, and if I haven't, I'm using the DMC. So I pretty much think it's a mix of the two, because certainly you can see some variegation in that. That's beautiful, isn't it? So do you know what? I'd quite like this to go on the WIPGO board, but I am going to leave it out to be one that maybe if I don't stitch it in August, I'd definitely like to be stitching it in September. And actually, you know, September is the time really for that, because it'd be really good to have that one finished for the autumn. And although I initially stitched it to be a strawberry, and it's finished in the book as a strawberry, I have actually seen, now I think it was Jordan the Tattooed Stitcher who actually framed it as a picture. She didn't make it into a strawberry, and it looked beautiful. I might do that. I might not finish it as a strawberry. We'll see. But I put that to one side because that's one I would like to get out. If I don't get it out in August, I'd like to get that one out in September and make some real progress on that one, because I do really like it and want to get that one finished. What is next? Oh, I've got a slight disorder here. Oh, definite disorder that I seem to have be missing something. I can come back to that one though. So where has it gone actually? Oh, is that it there? There we go. It was hiding. It was hiding. Next up is Autumn Bee from the Blue Flower. This is what it will look like. And again, this is one that Sarah and I actually started together for the Fun for 50 sale. And this is, I'm going to hold this actually up with the project bag, I think. It's a beautiful project bag, this. It's from Michelle at Stitch Mania. Beautiful. Love that. I love the foxes on this. I think, did I buy this at the Harrogate stitching show? Possibly. Beautiful tassel on it. But yeah, love that project bag. So we started this one together, Sarah and I, and actually I've started it on a Fabrics by Crafty Kate. Again, I think it's a Fabric of the Month, and I wasn't overly thrilled with the colours that had been suggested or have been called for, so I've changed things around a little bit. Let's put this on the board so you can see it a bit better. There we go, that's better. So yeah, not overly thrilled with the colours, so I just pulled out a load of colours, and I think it was the colours of the wings in particular that I wasn't sure about, and so I've just pulled things out that I thought would look better and would look better on this fabric, and they do, I think. So yeah, now I am debating whether to just stitch the bee and not bother with the flowers. I don't know why, it's funny, isn't it? I think it's beautiful, but I've just not enjoyed it as much as I've enjoyed stitching other things. So I thought I might just do that bee and leave it at that. So what I think I might do is leave this one out, put this on the pile to stitch in August or September, and try and get the bee finished, and then have a think about what I want to do with it. Yeah, I've got an idea. I've got an idea, and I'm not going to tell you now because, you know, it could be a surprise for someone else at a later stage. So, yeah, that one's going to stay out. Don't think I'd want it on the WIPGO board because it's quite small, but that one will stay out for me to look at getting done. So next up, this is a lovely one. I was gifted this chart by my friend Lynn. I'd sent something to her that she wanted and she sent me this one back. Feast of Friendship by Blackbird Designs. And I stitched this, I started stitching this with Lisa from Lost in Stitches. And it was around the time Lisa had had a bit of time off. Flosstube had been poorly and she'd come back and it was lovely to see her, and I thought this was a really good one, Feast of Friendship, to do as a kind of reminder of the friendship that us cross stitchers have, not only the people that we see in real life at cross stitch retreats and cross stitch meetups, but also those friends who are across the seas who we've never met in real life, but we have this wonderful hobby that puts us in touch with each other, and we watch each other on Flosstube and, you know, become friends, or feel that we're friends. So I thought it was lovely to start this for Lisa, just to celebrate the friendship that she had received and felt during her illness. So we started this with a hashtag of Feast of Friendship for Lisa Sal, and this is how far I've got with it. This is on 40 count Cafe au lait from Zweigart. So very slow going initially. I think the fruit in this basket was quite slow, and then I think, you know, suddenly seemed to have made, oh, I've got a few hanging, one big hanging thread there, seemed to have then made quite a bit of progress quite quickly with the kind of outline here. And I think this one is definitely one that I'm looking forward to doing in the autumn. And I think this actually, this has been, so this was put on the WIPGO board for 1 month and it's still to be called, so it has got a spot on the WIPGO board. I was thinking it'd be good to get that on the WIPGO board, but it is on there already, so hopefully that will come up. And this is in, I love this, I love this bag. This is a bag that I bought in Stitch in London last year. I bought it because I love these pumpkins, but it's a Yasmin's Made with Love bag, and she makes great bags because Yas puts in some quite sturdy, sorry, just tucking in the chart. She puts in some quite sturdy batting in there, and it kind of, so it holds it up. So when it's in a WIP, a basket or a box, it does actually stand upright of its own accord. So I quite like that because I know that everything's kind of in there safe and it's not getting squashed and my charts aren't getting bashed. So I quite like that, and it's got a lovely little maple leaf charm on there as well. So that's one of my favourite bags. So that was number 8. Number 9, oh, this is just one of my favourite stitches ever. Absolutely love this one. So this is Away We Ride, again by Blackbird Designs. Quite a lot of Blackbird in my life, I think. Now I started this last, I think it was September, and I'm stitching it with my friends Lauren, who's Lauren from Flossabilities, Rachel, who's the Talking Dog Stitcher, and Sherry from Just So Sherry. And we started this with the hashtag of Away We Stitch. And I have to say, I think I am the one who's made the most progress on this, actually, because I have struggled to put it down a few times. Here we are. It is on XG Designs Grandpa's Sleeve. I love this fabric, and that's, I think, part of why I've struggled to put it down, because I love stitching on it. I love the pattern. I love the chart. I love stitching on the fabric. The colours are amazing. Just so much fun. Yeah, it's wonderful. Now, I started in the middle, and I know Elaine has just started stitching this, and she's Elaine at Ellie Welly Stitcher. if you see her last Flosstube that she's just filmed about 10 days ago, she started in the middle with the house. Sherry, I think, started with the border, and I think Sherry's been a bit, ooh, this is slow going. So I am trying to do a bit in the middle and go out to the border and try and get the border done as well, so that I don't get too disgruntled with it. But yeah, this is definitely one of my all-time favourites, and it has been on the yes, so February I stitched on it as WIPGO, and it's still got another slot left on the WIPGO board for some point this year. And I've got a feeling when I get it out at some point this year to do it again for WIPGO, I've got a feeling it might stay out a little bit longer. But if it doesn't get called for September, I reckon I will probably pick this up in September, because I'll want to get it done. I think I might have thought originally I might get it finished for Halloween, but that might be a tall order. We'll see. If it comes up in September WIPGO, maybe I will. But if a blank comes up, if so, the ones I've got, so number 3 hasn't got anything, number 13, number 22 and number 25. So if one of those came up for September and I haven't yet filled them, or you choose Away We Ride, it could go on there for, yeah. So if you'd like to pick Away We Ride for my one of my WIPGOs, please do. Next up is the Quacker, and this, oh, I mean, this is a joy. This is an absolute joy. This is just such, again, a feast of friendship. This is the Quacker. This is designed by Mikkel at Star Parade Designs, and I hadn't met Mikkel or heard of Mikkel until the Big Stitch last year, and Whitney knew him, my friend Crafty Whitney. We had a space on our table on the Sunday because Noreen had been with us on the Saturday and she'd just come for the day, and Whitney said, oh, come and sit on our table for a couple of hours, Mikkel, and have a chat to us all. And he had the model for this with him, and he showed it to us, and the whole table just went absolutely quackers, and we all decided that we were all going to stitch on it, and we started it on, it was can't remember, I think it was about the 1st or 2nd of September, and we started it on that day because there was a duck race somewhere in the world. And yeah, so there's quite a gang of us that are stitching it, including some lovely friends who are on the next table over as well. And here is my progress so far since you last saw it. I have stitched, I think, I'm trying to stitch every month on this to get it finished for Big Stitch 2026. So I think the last time you saw it, it didn't have this little bird here started, and I have started that since my last Flosstube. I think I've stitched on it once, maybe. So not a huge amount of progress, but this is it. I'm stitching on a 40 count Zygot, and it's Aqua. Now I'm stitching it with Roxy Floss Co colours, and as you can see, Mikkel has done it monochromatic, and quite a lot of my friends are doing it with one thread, which was probably rather sensible. And yeah, so a lot of my friends are doing it monochromatic, doing it in one colour, and some of them have got beautiful variegation. I decided just to do it in Roxy Floss Co, whatever colour I fancied, and yeah, these are all my Roxy Floss Co colours. These are the ones that I picked, or there are a couple I bought specifically for it, or a couple that I pulled out from my stash that I thought would work well, and these are all my others, and yeah, this is what I'm using. So it will be all Roxy Floss Co colours, and yeah, fabulous. So I think to get it finished for Big Stitch next year, I need to get 600 or 700 stitches done a month, and I'm definitely behind in July. I didn't stitch as many in July as I should have done, just because holiday and etc, etc. So I will be behind. It has come up on my WIPGO board. It came up in March and it came up in May, so it has had 2 sessions already this year on WIPGO. I wouldn't be adverse to it coming up again, to use one of those spots so that I can make some really good progress on it to make sure I've got it finished for next June. So if you want to vote for the Quacker, comment below. Number 10. Oh, number 10, Americana Blue. This was my birthday start last year. This is by October House Fibre Arts. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful chart. And this is where I'm up to with it. So I'm stitching this with a cottage garden thread called La Belle, a beautiful variegated blue. And this is where I'm up to. So I haven't quite gone over to the side here. So this is a 36 count fabric from Those Missing Stitches that I was gifted by a lovely friend in America when I did Across the Pond exchange. She sent over this lovely fat quarter of fabric. 36 count, but unfortunately I don't think I'm going to have, I should have 2 inches on each side, and I don't think I'm going to have 2 inches on this side. So I'm carrying on stitching. I haven't quite finished what goes over here, and I might not, and yeah, going to change it, make it different, make it fit the best way I can. Yeah, because there's, yeah, that symbol there is comes over quite far, so I'm not going to put that, but I think there's another symbol over here, perhaps this one here, that I think will fit, and then I might leave out that there. So kind of shifting things around very slightly. Now Americana Blue came up quite early in the year, I think. Oh, January and April. So this has already had 2 sessions on it. For WIPGO. Again, if a third one came up, I think, so I don't think I'm going to stitch the house. I think with the error with the fabric, I don't think I'm going to stitch the house. Yeah, so I don't know. I think it could be finished sooner rather than later, depending on how I amend it. Now, I do love the idea. So Caroline at Caroline Stitch Corner does this. She will always stitch on something on the yearly anniversary of it last being stitched on. So, or no, sorry, on the anniversary of when she started it. So I started Americana Blue on my birthday in September last year. I haven't done it with many projects. I've done it with 1 or 2 this year, but I haven't done it with many projects. But if this doesn't come up on WIPGO in September, well, it won't unless you vote for it, because it's not on my board now, because it's already been on twice. If it's not on my WIPGO board, I will aim to stitch on this on my birthday this year. So try and get it in, or some done in September. I love this. This is in a beautiful bag that my lovely friend Charlie Feathers made me for my birthday. So as you can see, there's a 50 in the middle there, because I was 50. Oh, seems really old, but I still feel really quite young. Apart from when my knees bother me. There we go. Another one that Sarah and I started together. So this is Home for Christmas. And we started this one together. I think we started this in October of last year by Plum Street Samplers. I love this one. I absolutely adore it. This came up in March. So I managed to get quite a bit done in March. This is where it's up to. Now, I like to think that there's not a huge amount to do on this. However, there is. It looks like a small chart. it's not. There's an awful lot of stitching in it. So this border up here, I haven't finished, but it's also repeated down here as well. But it is beautiful. It's beautiful to stitch on. I'm stitching it on the called for fabric, which is 36 count Winter's Brew by R&R Reproductions. And I managed to buy that from Rachel at the Talking Dog Stitchery. So have a look, actually, Rachel's website, Rachel's shop, fantastic shop. I do have an affiliate code. I'll put it below as well. But if you go and shop on Rachel's website and use the code Flossie5, you can get a 5% discount on your stitchery shopping. It's a minimum spend of £10, but yeah, that gives you a little discount, and it gives me a little bit of an affiliate kickback as well, which is lovely. So yeah, so that was on, yeah, that was March, and I think actually I only did put that on the that was only on once, so that could, please put that, vote for that if you'd like to see that go on one of my blank spots on my WIPGO for the rest of the year, because I'd quite like to stitch on that. I think I could not quite easily get that finished for Christmas, but I'd like to make a damn good try of getting that finished for Christmas. Now this is a beautiful one. This is number 15. So I'm halfway there, halfway through. This is Nessie Mitchell, and this is a chart by designed by Mama Loves You GB, and Michelle kindly gifted Sarah and I, for last year, she said, for your 50th birthdays, I'd like to gift you a chart if you'd like to stitch one. We both decided that we would like to stitch Nessie Mitchell, so we decided we would start this together, and we did for Black Sampler November. I'm stitching this on. This fabric is amazing. So this fabric was dyed and gifted to me by my friend Alex at Alex Stitches, and it's gorgeous. One of my favourite colours is purple. I like purple and pink, and she really captured this so well. Sorry, there's a little crease in there, and perhaps you can't see it as well. And I'm stitching this with Roxy Floss Co. Great Lakes, which I would say is one of my favourite colours to stitch in. All fingers and thumbs today. Trying to hold the thread. No, it's not really working, is it? I'm trying to hold the thread at the same time as the fabric, but this is beautiful. Again, not a huge amount actually left to do on this one, although I think they are dewy and eyelets underneath maybe, and I think I need to perhaps just have a practice of those, but it's beautiful. Yeah, that's not on my WIPGO board. It hasn't been put on my WIPGO board, but it could go on my WIPGO board quite easily. If you'd like to see that on my WIPGO board, let me know below, and it can go on the WIPGO board. Next one. Now this is a lovely one. This is Strawberry Fields Forever, another Blackbird Designs one, and Sarah and I started this on her birthday. So it was Sarah's 50th birthday start, and it was Jingle Ball, and because I needed a bit of, and I've got it in a lovely strawberry bag from, again, I think this from Michelle at Stitch Mania. Is it from Michelle at Stitch Mania stash again, or is it from someone else? Can't remember. I think it's Michelle. Started this at the Jingle Ball, and I realised I'd had it in stash for, well, not in stash, I'd had it kitted up, also I thought, for absolutely ages, because it had always been the plan that we would stitch it for Sarah's birthday, and it came to it, I got it out, I hadn't picked the threads. So actually I was in a room with my friends Alex and Caroline, and they helped me pick the colours because I didn't actually have all of them. So I had to pick a few from stash, and it's a very small start. Really haven't made much of an inroad on this one at all. I'm stitching this on 40 count Highbury Gold from Swan Bay Fabrics. Beautiful, lovely. It's kind of a very, very pale lemon yellow colour, I would say. I'm not sure because the sun has just suddenly decided to come out on a very dreary day in Wales here. Whether you can see the true colour of that, but it's a beautiful, all of Marie's colours from Swan Bay Fabrics, they are all just perfect. So I think that hasn't been on the WIPGO board, but again, I think that probably deserves a spot because it's still, it doesn't look like a big chart, but I think it's quite a lot of stitching on it. So that would be a very good one to have on the chart. I really can't remember where I got this bag from, but I love it because of the strawberries. Perimenopausal brain fog. Now another, so this actually, so Strawberry Fields was number 49 of 50 for the Fun for 50 sale, and the next one was the 50th one. So this was my final new start for last year, and it is, I have to remember what it's called. It's Seasons of the Heart Autumn by the Blue Flower, and I got this out of Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine. Can't remember off the top of my head which issue it's in, but I had a subscription, or had an electronic subscription, so it gives you access to all of the magazines. Haven't got the subscription anymore, but obviously you can download the magazines when you do have that subscription. So I still have access to the back issues. So I started this in December, and I started it on the day of my lovely friend Fanny, who is Cross Stitch Couture on Instagram, and she's the Soul Sister. I'm going to pop it here because I've had a complete blank, on YouTube, and started. So we decided, Fanny and our friends who we chat to decided that we were going to do a blue flower chart, and so this was my choice, and that is my meagre start. Not very big at all. This isn't on the WIPGO board. I think this is one that could quite easily go on the WIPGO board should you decide for me that that is a good option. Again, because it's autumn, I think I've really tried the last couple of months to do summery things. Earlier in the year I was trying to do Easter, and so if it doesn't go on the WIPGO board, I feel that I probably will be picking this up in the autumn to get some autumn stitching done. I have got the other 3 seasons done of this one. I've done spring, summer and winter. Started with winter, so I've done winter, spring, summer. So this is the last one. So actually, if I could get this one done, I've got the 4, and I could then get them framed and have them up, because I haven't yet framed them because I haven't decided how I'm going to do it, what I'm going to do, whether I'm going to have the 4 in one frame with all 4 of them, or whether I'm going to have them all in the same frame, or whether I'm going to use one frame and swap them out depending on the season. So really I could do with getting this one finished so that I can do that. So that would be a really good plan. So we're now on to my 2025 starts. So everything you've seen so far, Remember Me was started in 2023, everything else 2024. We're now on to 2025. And the first thing that I started in 2025 was Cabin in the Woods from Lauren at Flossabilities. Now, I was due to start this on the 1st of January. Those who've watched me before know I went on holiday to New York, and we had a bit of a delayed journey on the way home. We were supposed to be home by the 30th, and we ended up arriving back in the UK on the 1st of January, and I think got home and slept. So I actually think I started this the following day. So this is Cabin in the Woods, and I was starting it with my friend Marianne, and it was the first one of her milestone birthday year stitches when she's doing 60 new starts. So I said I would do the first one with her, and this is how it's looking. It's beautiful. I love it. I'm stitching it on, let's pull it a bit tighter, there we go, stitching it on 40 count Mansfield Stone by Swanbay Fabrics, and it's looking gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. This has been on the WIPGO board. It was on June, and it's not on again actually. It only was on the WIPGO board once this year, so this could quite easily go on the WIPGO board again. So I'd be quite happy to do that. And I also started for 2025, I also started trying to stitch as many British designers as I could, because we have some amazing designers and I really wanted to shout them out. So I also, for this one, using the hashtag Best of British Sal, and for Marianne's birthday we were using hashtag Milestone Birthday Sal. So there's a few with both of those hashtags that are coming up, but that was the first one. The second one for the Best of British Sal was Spring on Lock Lane. This is a gorgeous chart by the Old Barn Stitch Company. And this is a collaboration with Sammy at Little Loops and also her friend Deborah. I love this one, absolutely love it. And gorgeous threads. Now I know that the elderberry, which is the cottage garden thread, is in another project that I'm using it for actually, but they're just I want to say flosses and I'm trying to say threads at the same time. The threads, the flosses that Sammy and Deborah picked for this are absolutely beautiful. Here it is. It's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. I have loved stitching on this one. I'm stitching this on, it's 36 count light mocha, and I'm pretty much using the called for threads. I'm using, so Bejeweled and Vintage Rose and Elderberry from Cottage Garden Threads are the fancy flosses in this. There were also some other Cottage Garden threads that I didn't have, and I'm using the DMC substitutes for those, and I think they're you know, they're pretty good substitutes. But I felt that the Bejeweled, which is this beautiful green, the Elderberry, and the pink, which is the vintage Rose, yes, Vintage Rose, were just perfect, and it really needed those colours. And I was able to get, certainly I was able to get the Cottage Garden threads from Rachel at the Talking Dog Stitchery. Have I said that Keely is doing this with me from Cakes and Stitches? Don't think I have. Keely's stitching it as well. Keely has made wonderful progress on it. I think while I've been on holiday, she has filmed a Flosstube. So go over and have a watch of that, because I'm sure she'll have her progress on it, because I think she's doing it as she's portioned out sections, and she's doing a section each month to try and make sure she finishes it. Has it been on my WIPGO board? It has been on my WIPGO board. It was on my WIPGO board for June, but I only had it on the board once. So it could go on again, I think. I really enjoy stitching on that. Would be quite happy to have it on my WIPGO board again. Would be quite happy to get it finished. I am finding, I think 30 WIPs is probably, for me, I feel it's probably a few too many. I think maybe the first year that you saw me doing Flosstube, I was stitching a lot more smalls, and I think the Remember Me by Teresa Kogut was the first big project that I decided to do, and then I've obviously bought a couple of other big projects on, and I think because I've got so many WIPs now, they are not getting perhaps the attention, and don't really want to be, I mean, it doesn't matter, does it? It doesn't matter if they're sitting there not getting stitched on. But would it be nice to have them finished? Would it not be nice to have them displayed? Absolutely. I think my biggest issue is that I don't always, sometimes I'm pretty good at this. When I'm kitting something up, I'll get the colours from my behind here. I've got everything, you know, I've got a lot of DMCs. I'll get them, and sometimes I will put those, you know, I've got lots of floss cards as well. I will pull the colours and I'll put a couple of strands on a floss card. Sometimes I don't do that, and I just take the card from the thread from here and just put it in the project, and then I come to do another project up and I haven't got it. I know I've got it because I've got it written down. I know what threads I've got, but I don't know what project it's in. And actually that's happened today. I was kitting something up and there were 3 threads that I knew I owned but went here and went in my spares box. So part of me doing the WIP parade was also getting everything out, finding those 3, which I did, and yeah. So I think probably my biggest push to get things done is to get the threads out and get the threads back into circulation. So perhaps if it's something like Spring Quaker, I've pulled a few threads for each of that and I've got those on separate thread cards. But that probably is my biggest pull to get things done, to make sure I've got the thread in circulation. Maybe. Yeah. Funny, isn't it? Isn't it funny the way the things that motivate us and want us to do things, and yeah. Anyway, we are now on to WIP number 18. Love this one. This is Pomegranate Santa, and I was gifted this one for my birthday by my lovely friend Emma, who's Emma S Stitches, and Emma made this beautiful project bag, jingly jangly, to go with it. It's got an S in the corner. She's got one that matches it and has got an E on it for her name, and she kitted it up with all the called for fancy flosses as well. So it was an absolutely beautiful gift, and we started it in January on Emma's birthday, and not a huge amount of progress. I made a start. I've got some reindeer, so I'm stitching this on 36 count country vintage mocha. Yeah, and this wasn't on the WIPGO board. Just dropped it. Wasn't on the WIPGO board, but it would be great for that to go on the WIPGO board and get some serious stitching in it before Christmas. It won't get finished for this Christmas, unfortunately, because again it's a plum street. And although it looks like quite a small chart, I think that white and the Santa's cloak is going to be quite a lot of stitching. So it's beautiful and I want to stitch on it. So if you'd like to see me stitch on it for WIPGO, comment below. It might get a slot. Oh, the box is starting to, this was empty. This is my box where I keep all my WIPs. Starting to get quite full. I don't think they'll all fit in there again. Number 19. This is a beautiful one. This is an absolutely gorgeous stitch. It is the Secret Garden Sal from Historical Sampler Company, and they kindly gifted this sal to me. Beautiful colours. So I got all the threads with that, and I get the linen. So they send me the linen, which is a 32 count linen. As you know, I am a 1 strand of thread over 2 linen holes stitcher. So actually I have changed out the fabric. I'm doing this on a 35 count Weeks Dye Works parchment. This is how far I've got. It's beautiful. Need to get on with it. Again, not on my WIPGO board because that's arrived in this year after I did my WIPGO board. Quite happy for that to go on the WIPGO board. That has now finished. So that was a stitch along. And when did that start? April. Gosh, April. That seems like so long ago. I started, goodness. So that was a stitch along that started in April. It was 5 parts, released every 2 weeks. So I think I'm on, actually I stitched the first part, made a mistake. So then I think I waited for everything else to come out. And so I think I have pretty much, rather than stitching the separate parts, I think I've kind of gone from the bottom and moved out, and then I'm going up. So I'm not stitching in the parts now. You can now buy that as, you can definitely buy it as a PDF. You may still be able to buy it as a kit as well, but go and have a look on the historical sampler company website, because you can still buy that one as a full, rather than, it's not a stitch along anymore, you can now buy the full pattern. Number 20. So the Secret Garden Sale, actually, that counted as a Best of British stitch along, as does this one, which is Shack on the Shore from Lauren at Flossabilities. Lauren kindly gifted me this chart, perfect companion piece to go with the Cabin in the Woods, and I've started it and not made a huge amount of progress, but I've got that started on the roof of the shack. Now it's very funny actually, because it does make me giggle when I look at this one. My friend Natalie, who's so Stitch So Nat, made a comment on when I showed this on the Flosstube that I showed this as a start, and she put "Love Shack on the Shore," as in I love it. And all I could think about was Love Shack, the B-52 song. So whenever I think about this, I think about the Love Shack. Yeah, I haven't told Lauren that yet. I'm hoping that makes her giggle. But Love Shack by B-52s was a huge song when I was a teenager and loved it. And yeah, it was kind of school disco time for me. And yeah, it was a great song to sing and dance along to. So yeah, it does make me giggle now when I think about the Love Shack on the Shore. So I'm stitching this with on a 30, no, it's 40 count this. It's 40 count Aqua from Zweigart, which I'm also stitching the Quacker on. Yeah, I bought a really big piece of this, I think, and so I've stitched quite a lot on it. But small start, but a start nevertheless. It wasn't on the WIPGO board because I started it in, so it was probably April or May time. So, you know, after I'd planned the WIPGO board, but it would be a good candidate to have a spot on the WIPGO board at some point this year. Number 21. Oh, I love this one. This is a gorgeous one. So this is Blizzard, who is an animal cracker. And I am stitching I'm going to be stitching quite a lot of the Animal Cracker series with my friends who I meet up with. Kind of met them in other places, but we all now tend to meet at Cheshire Stitchers. They meet once a month, and when we can as well. I tend not to get there as much as Sue and Lindsay tend to go quite a lot. Ellie and I, Ellie Welly Stitcher, not so much. Elaine perhaps a little bit more than me recently. Just life sometimes gets in the way. But we all started, I started this one at a Cheshire Stitchers meeting. Blizzard, gorgeous. I'm going to hold him up with the... And once this one's stitched, one of the others will get the chart, and we're all going to swap the charts around. We've all between us now bought quite a few of these charts. So I've also got Lily, and I've got another one. Can't remember what the other one is I've got, but we've all got quite a few each now. So I think we are going to have quite a menagerie of animal crackers, animals between us all. So I'm actually going to leave this one out. I think I want to stitch on this one in August. I really would quite like to get it finished so that I can start on another one and I can share the chart with one of my friends. Didn't tell you what I'm stitching it on, did I? Very fast, too quick for my own good. I'm stitching this on cookie dough fabric, which was a fabric of the month from West Green Loft Yarns. It's 36 count, and the colours there that you can see are the called for fancy flosses. So I think that beautiful colour there, I think that's Teal Frost. I can't remember what the red is, but where I've got them, I am using the fancy flosses, and potentially threads aren't actually in here. I think this is one. Do you know what? I took 5 projects with me on holiday. 5. Don't know what I was thinking about. I only stitched on one, and I only stitched on it for maybe 2 days. I'm going to leave this one out. Want to get that one worked on. This is another one. So Elaine and I started this one together, and we were joined by my friend in the Netherlands, Isadora, who is at In House of Aquarius on Instagram. She stitched the Mani Dodonna chart, which was part of the Night Garden series. So the Night Garden palette. So this is Twilight Moon by Tiny Modernist, and for Nashville, a selection of designers get together, and they're given a palette of threads from Threadworks. Let me just, have I got mine in here? See, everything, I put my 5 projects in here to go on holiday. There is the blizzard colours. So I've actually, my Threadworks colours are now hanging up here. Here they are at the back here. And I've just taken off a selection to have in my bag. But 4 Threadworks threads, which were part of they were called the Night Garden palette, and it was curated by X Stitch the Rainbow. And so this was the chart done by Tiny Modernist. And the one that I'll put the Mani Dodonna one that Isadora was doing. I'll put it up so you can have a look what it looks like. So using the same threads. So Elaine and I were doing this one, and this is how far I've got. Oh, I'm not going to use the board. I'm going to fold this over. I think you'll see it better. There we go. So I started up the top, I think, and that's the top of the moon, and there's a little house that goes here. So Elaine started somewhere else. So if you go and have a look at Elaine's latest Flosstube, you can see her progress, because it's a little bit different to mine. Now I'm stitching this on it's an unknown, I don't know the name of the fabric, but it is by Silk Weavers. It's not one I've heard of before, but I bought it in a D-stash. And it's gorgeous. It's kind of a bluey with a bit of purple. Yeah, I just thought it was perfect for this project, and I think there should be enough for me to do another small on it at some point. But that is gorgeous. Not a huge amount of stitching left in that. Is there anything else in that bag? Yes. Yes. Yeah. Put everything into one bag, and then yeah, I only stitched on one thing. Took it all the way to Italy with me, and only stitched on one thing. This is a little bag actually I made. It's my first kind of bag making foray. This was before I started cross stitching. I used to go to a class with my mum. A friend of my mum had a lovely kind of stitchy room set out for kind of 6-8 people, and we made bags and all sorts of stuff, machine embroidery. But this was before my days of cross stitching, so I at least learnt some skills to make bags, and that's one that I found in my drawer. Not particularly well made, so I thought I probably can't give it away. Just a nice pink in the middle, but I think this is an Orla can never say a name. Orla Curly Irish name fabric that I bought to make, and I think I have got another little bag, a little handbag that I made with that fabric as well somewhere. So that was Twilight Moon. Number 22. Number 23, another Vesta British Sal. This is Going Coastal by Love Poppet, and I bought this one from Claire at Stitch in London last year. She came as a vendor and it was lovely to meet her, and I just loved this one, but not made a huge amount of progress. So here it is. This is how far I've got so far. This is Stormy Sky from Fabrics by Crafty Kate. So it's a gorgeous fabric. I don't think it'll be a stormy sky once I get the sun in, but yeah. Board, no board. Great start on that lighthouse. And Karen from Stitching Owl is also stitching this along with me. I think Karen may have also just put out a Flosstube while I've been away, and so I haven't watched yet, so it'd be good to see Karen's progress. Beautiful colours on this one. That sun, just, yeah, beautiful, beautiful summery colours. So I think this is another one I'm going to leave out. It's too small to go on the WIPGO board. I tend to put my bigger projects on, but I think I'd like to get some stitching done on that in August while it is still summer. Next one, number 24. This is one that I have actually, this is the project that I did stitch on holiday, and didn't do a huge amount of stitching on it on holiday, but I've stitched on it quite a lot since I've got back. I've got 4 or 5 sessions on it since coming back off holiday, and it's Blue Jay Summer by Robin Pickens Designs. I started this on the first day of summer with my friend Marianne as one of her milestone birthday sal stitches, and I'm stitching all of the 4 seasons, so this is the second one. I'll pop a picture up of how it looked last time you saw it, because I have made quite a bit of progress. And it has got a hanging thread, I'm afraid, but there we go. Here it is now. So beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I'm stitching this on a fabric from West Green Loft Yarns, and my notes are just slightly hidden. It's called Cassandra. So again, made some reasonable progress on that. I think I will keep that one out now, because again I would quite like to get that finished. Probably too small for the WIPGO board, and actually I've been good with this one. I picked the threads because I knew I was taking it on holiday. I picked the threads that I knew I needed. I've put them on this beautiful little thread keep. So this is the way to do it, but it just takes time to do these things occasionally, doesn't it? So this is the little thread keep that I got at Stitch in London last year. It was in our bags, and it was by Daria Makes. So her details on the back. So gorgeous little, so that for going on holiday when you don't want to take all of your threads and it's a small chart, something like that is perfect. And I just wrote in pencil on the chart what number, as you can see the numbers are on there, what corresponded. So I'm going to leave that one out. I'll get that finished, but that will hopefully that will be finished. I am challenging myself to finish that one in the next 2 weeks. So at the next Flosstube I do, you'll see that as a finish. The first day of autumn, I will be starting the autumn one. Can't remember what bird it is. Spring with a robin, blue jay, cardinal is winter. Can't remember what the autumn one is. Oh dear. So yeah, that one is going to be finished. Another summery one that I started to try and give myself some summery stitches was Seaside Tiny Town by Heart in Hand, and I'm stitching this one again, another one that I'm stitching with Keely at Cakes and Stitches, and that hasn't really had an awful lot of progress. There we go, that's it. I'm stitching this on 35 count raw linen from Zweigart, and I am changing the colours. I felt that the colour of the lighthouse certainly wasn't quite red enough, and yeah, I think I find sometimes with Seaside Tiny Towns, that if the DMCs aren't always as good a colour as the classic colour works, and I don't have a huge stash of classic colour works, so I am substituting DMCs with the colour that I think works better or looks a bit more like it does on the front of the chart. That one could go on the WIPGO board, couldn't it? Yeah, that one could go on the WIPGO board. I think it needs a bit of time. So these are all quite recent new starts actually, so you will have possibly seen them. The next one is the 26th, my 26th WIP. We're getting there. It's Strawberry Harvest from Cottage Garden Samplings, and I started this on the first day of Wimbledon with my friend Sarah, who's Cross Stitch Sarah on Instagram and on YouTube, and also Tracy, who is on Instagram as Darth's Knitty Wife. This is on a beautiful Fabrics by Crafty Kate. It was a fabric of the month, and I am pretty much choosing my own colours, whatever I think is appropriate. Fancy floss that I've got just to be able to use it up. Yeah, beautiful. Need more time. This could go on the WIPGO board as well. If you'd like to see that on the WIPGO board, please do vote. Number 27 is Wee Santa. Gorgeous, gorgeous little man. Have you seen the new Wee Santa for 2025? He is adorable. I think I might have to purchase him. So my friend Jacinta, who is Crafting on the Plains, go and have, she's lovely, Jacinta. Watch her Flosstube is wonderful, so please do go and have a watch, and she's on Instagram as well. She's made such a lot more progress than I have on Wee Santa. This is my progress. Not an awful lot. I'm stitching Wee Santa on 40 count light exemplar fabric from Lakeside Linen. I bought it in a D-stash. Perfect size, perfect piece. Yeah, again, really have enjoyed stitching this one. I am pretty much have quite a few of the so it's a mix actually of, other than the blanc, other than the white, a mix of classic colour works and Weeks Dye Works colours that I already had. I think there is perhaps one DMC that I haven't got yet that I need to throw in there. Yeah, again, it'd be really good actually to get that one done. I think I'm going to leave that on the to stitch on pile, because I would quite like to get that one done for Christmas. I did Wee Santa 2023, and that was framed and up for Christmas, which was great. Yeah, so it'd be really wonderful to get that one done for this Christmas. So that's achievable because it's not massive. The 2023 one, so it's this one. It's on the back of, sorry, zips, opening and closing zips. It was this one. Yeah, oh no, sorry, 2022. This one's 2023. That one was 2022. That actually, can I get that into focus for you? There we go, that's in focus, isn't it? That was a real bugger to stitch. There was so much on that, and actually I kept making mistakes on that going over there. I think though the flowers on that are actually going to be a bit more simple to stitch, because it'll be quite obvious, I think, because it's kind of symmetrical. Yeah, I think if I make a mistake on those, I'll realise quite quickly. But yeah, so I think I can get that done for Christmas. That's my other challenge. I am going to get that one done for Christmas. My next WIP is the Pumpkin Sale. This is from Historic Sampler Company again. I was kindly gifted the kit by the lovely ladies at Historical Sampler Company, and I actually, because I've run out of project bags. I need to make myself a new one. I'm keeping it in the envelope that it came in. So it's the Pumpkin Patch Stitch Along. It started the 7th of July. I've started on the first part, and then the second part came out while I was on holiday, and then the next part will be out on Monday. So I'm a little bit behind already with this one, but that is my progress so far. I am stitching this on the fabric that it came with. So this is a 32 count linen from Zweigart, but I am stitching it with 1 strand. If you watched my Flosstube last time, I talked about the ghost that I thought I needed to stitch that ghost in 2 strands to make him stand out, and it looked awful. I not only dislike stitching with 2 strands of floss, but I dislike stitching in white. So what I think I will do with that little ghosty is unpick him, and I think I'll stitch the ghosts, if there are more, in a toile. So we've had 2 parts released so far. I'll pop up a picture of what it looks like so far. So you can join this sale now. I believe they still have kits left. And obviously 2 parts have been released, and a 3rd part will be released on Monday. Beautiful colours. Yeah, I love these stitch alongs from Historical Sampler Company. I'm really, really grateful and really lucky that they are sending them to me so that I can show them to you. But I don't say yes to things that I don't like. So I do. I really like these, and really enjoy doing them. So still available if you'd like to join me with that one. And again, it's another British sale, because Historical Sampler Company are a British company, and I think it's Suzanne who designs these, and obviously British. Number 29. Now, this is a gorgeous chart. This was very unexpected that I was going to start this one. I started this in July. And this was after a Zoom call with some of my friends, where we were talking about how beautiful the Blueberry Ridge design patterns were. It's Emily Pengelly. She's the daughter of Laurie, who designs Pansy Patch Quilts and Stitchery. And they both are beautiful. 2 of my favourite designers. I happen to have this one in stash. We're on a Zoom call, and we're all talking about how wonderful the designs were. And someone said, let's do a sale. Let's start on Tuesday. This was Sunday. Let's start on Tuesday. Couldn't say no. I had the choice of the Blueberry house. I had the Halloween pattern, and I've also got the Strawberry house as well. I'm going to start the Halloween one because my friend Rebecca did. She said, I've got this one, I'm going to start it. So I'm going to do that too. And my friend Alex said, no, wait, and let's do a sale with that one, another sale together. I was like, okay. So I picked the Blueberry house. Alex also picked the Blueberry house, and she has now finished it. She is stitching monogamously at the moment, but this is how far I have got. And yeah, it's really cute. It's really cute. I'm stitching this on a fat quarter of fabric. Yeah, I could have cut this down. I'm stitching it on it's Pemberley. It's 36 count from Swan Bay Fabrics, and I haven't cut it down yet. I wanted to get to the bottom. I did get to the bottom last night, so I know where I can cut it below, but I decided I didn't want to cut it yet, and so I haven't. And there's the Blueberry house, the Strawberry house, the Kiwi house, and a Pomegranate house. I might stitch them all on Pemberley. It's one of my favourite colours. It's very pale pink. So if you can see the colour of that again, it's quite bright out, the light coming in. But it's a gorgeous pale pink. Love. And I am stitching this with, it's in an Oso Alison summer bag that I won on a competition that Alison ran. I love it, with little caravans. I'm stitching this with predominantly the called for DMCs. And this is when my elderberry, oh no, it's Midnight. Elderberry's in another one. So I'm also using Cottage Garden Thread Midnight, that beautiful dark blue has gone in there as well, because I didn't have a dark blue. I didn't have the DMC that was called for. So that is number 29. 30. I can't believe I've got 30 WIPs. I really can't. This is the highest ever. Blueberry House is not on my WIPGO board because it's a new project and it was completely unplanned. That could go. Please vote for this one. Pop it on my pop a comment below. Vote for it. It can go on the WIPGO board. Yes. My final WIP. This was a planned start. This has been planned all year. But it wasn't until the kind of last minute did I know what fabric and what thread I was going to use. So you haven't seen this before. I've told you that I was going to stitch it, and it is Flamfair PG, Spirit of Flamfair PG. It is the Love Spoons chart, as we call it. And actually, I need to put it in a decent, I need to make a decent project bag for it. And I've got a little Love Spoon that Charlie Feathers gifted me when we had a weekend away in March. Oh, and there's a very fast aeroplane going over. If my daughter was here now, that she'd be squealing and going and looking out the window, looking on flight radar and finding out what plane it is. Sounds like a Royal Air Force one. Quite a loud, fast plane. The things that excite us in this household. Anyway, it is a very meagre, small start on Flamfair PG. Because this is my second start of it. I'll show you my first start in a minute. So again, it's on this beautiful, beautiful purple fabric that my friend Alex gifted me. She dyed it herself and gifted to me for my birthday last year. And here is my start. And this is where the elderberry is. I'm stitching it in elderberry Cottage Garden threads. Now, initially, I thought I would stitch it in a pale pink. And I wanted to do it in a variegated one, and I couldn't find a variegated one that I liked on this fabric. It was more important I used the fabric than anything. And I found a DMC that I thought was good. Now, I made a start, and then I thought, no, I'm not overly, it's not popping, I'm not overly keen. And I knew how beautiful the Roxy Floss Great Lakes looked on this fabric. Decided I didn't have enough of that. But that elderberry was a gorgeous, gorgeous alternative. And it's got the variegation. I know I can buy more of this colour. And I know that the Cottage Garden threads, although there can be a little bit of difference, because I've bought skeins off them at separate times. So Labelle, which I'm stitching Americana Blue in, I got one of those in the Patchwork Rabbit advent calendar 2 years ago, and then decided to stitch Americana Blue with that. So I bought some more of Talking Dog Stitcher, and the packaging had changed and the colour was very slightly different. But I think when it's variegated, you can get away with it. So what I'm doing with that is I alternate between the two skeins of one strand, then I switch and go to the other one. So it's you know, I'm always stitching with something different. And it looks fine. It looks great. So I thought, well, if I need another skein or two of this, it's fine. I can get those quite easily. I just think the blue looks so much better than the pink. And I did send pictures to my friends and said, what do you think? And they all, 2 of them loved the pink. And I actually dug my feet in and said, no, I don't actually mind what you think, I'm doing the blue. And yeah, haven't stitched an awful lot because actually, so this was a new start for Mary Ann's 60th birthday, and it actually was the day that we went on holiday. So yeah, it didn't get very much done. And I did, if you have a look at my Instagram, I actually took a photo of it on the balcony of our holiday, our hotel room, with the flowers, beautiful flowers on our balcony behind it. So go and have a look at that. So yeah, so that is number 30. There we go, 30 WIPs. And I mean, I there's so much more I want to tell you. I want to tell you about my holiday. I want to show you some pictures, but I just felt I needed to, oh yeah, this one could go on the WIP board, WIPGO board. So if you want to vote for it, vote below. If it gets enough votes, it will get a slot on the WIPGO board too. Yeah, so there's so much more I want to tell you, but I just felt I needed to go through everything and have a think about what I wanted to stitch. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 projects that I pulled out that I really, really want to work on and make some progress towards getting finished. I've got a few suggestions that I've given you that could go on my WIPGO board. So please comment below and vote on what you'd like to see me stitch in those 4 slots on my WIPGO board. So there's 4, so there's quite a good scope for getting, you know, yeah, getting some things on there that would make some good progress. Just, I felt, yeah, the other thing was I had some colours, needed to go through everything because I had some colours that I wasn't sure where they were and needed to get those out. And I also have got quite a few projects in these kind of project bags, and I thought I'm sure I've got project bags in my box that are maybe empty and I could get rid of these. Anyway, I haven't. Oh no, I had one. I've got this lovely one from Hazel. My friend Hazel made me. When did she give me this? Did she give me this when we went out? It was when we went out for Roz's birthday. My friend Roz Clark Crafts. It was her 50th last year, and Hazel gave me that when we met at that day. So that one did have a project in it, but I realised I had the same project split over 2 project bags. So actually this one will get, I think I'll probably put Wee Santa in this one actually. It needs a little project. Or I could put the long dog one in because actually the long dog is on markup, so I haven't got anything printed out for that one, so that could go there. So I might do that. Yeah, so it's been really good to catch up with you and just talk through all my projects, remind me what I've got, and you know, you sometimes forget. I forget some of the ones that I haven't touched for a while, so it's really good to kind of have eyes on everything and yeah, kind of sort it out. It all looks a lot neater now as well. So I've just managed to squeeze everything into that box. Although there are the 6 there that I want to work on. So I think there's a good few there to work on getting finished. I do want to get that WIP count down. The 30 is just a little bit too much. But there will still be new starts. So if it doesn't happen, I'm not going to beat myself up over it. I'm not going to get upset about it. Yeah, just have to, yeah, deal with it. Anyway, it has been so lovely to go through everything with you, have a chat. You know, it's been 2025 so far. Has been, I think Sarah commented on my last Flosstube where I had about 4 or 5 starts that month. She said, oh, it's getting very like 2025, 2024. I was like, it is a bit when I started 50 new starts in 2024. So that's given me the opportunity to count as well. I've had 28 new starts in 2025 so far, and I have finished 20 projects. So that's not bad going at all. Not bad going at all. But yeah, I have got quite a lot on the go at the moment. I was watching Michelle, Mama Loves You GB. She hasn't filmed this week, but yesterday I caught up with her from I think the week before. She filmed when I was on holiday. Did she say she had 118 projects? Oh, Michelle, that just I don't. And she was going to try and get it down to 100 by Christmas, by the end of the year. Michelle stitches a lot more quickly than I do. I sometimes wish I could stitch in hand, because I think I could stitch faster. But yeah, that's just an awesome number, and maybe one day, but I'm getting scared at 30. I'd be terrified at 50 or 100. Anyway, never say never. So, you know, back off holiday now. Health is good, feeling really good. And stitching is back to normal pretty much, though we're still spending time at the allotment. At the moment we are inundated with courgettes, so any courgette recipes, please send them my way, and hopefully I will be back in back in 2 weeks, I reckon. 2 weeks today. Film again and catch you up on a normal Flosstube and take it from there. Happy stitching, everyone. See you soon. Bye.